Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Here's another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I said, what? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yes, it's another one. Bye-yap, bye-yap, bye-yap. Rest in peace, Nip. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Because the marathon will continue, right? Anyone who rocks with Nip, give me a oh hell yeah, right? You already know what it is, man. Rest in peace to a real one. Now, what I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to tell a story, an actual story that happened, man. Something that I had forgot about, but in a menudo style direct fashion, getting on the phone with one of my old school homeboys, he reminded me of it. He said, hey, bro, remember when we worked there and the Southsiders got off? I said, they sure did, huh? I'm going to speak on that one because that's a good story to tell. Now, trip out. We all know about the upstate movement, you know, the Upstaters, the Southsiders from upstate, from up in Northern California, man. The ones that have put a label on it, you know, they basically distinguished themselves from the Surenos down south or the Southsiders down, you know, past the Grapevine area. Now, I'll say this, man, you know, respects to all the Southsiders, upstate and down south. I don't see no difference, eh? They all rock the LA gear. They all rock the blue. They all got a passion in their heart to get off where they're mad at. And so I give them all their respects, right? Because at one point in time, they were the enemigas. They were enemies to me. And we pushed, man. We pushed against each other. There was a lot of friction. But at the end of the day, man, they were a worthy adversary. They continue to do their thing. And I can't knock them for what they does because they're a raza. They're brown homes. And they proceed that way. Now, here's a funny story, right? It's kind of funny. It's kind of, I know it was dangerous. But anyways, I worked at this place called the Dole Company. It's in the middle of Atwater and Merced. It's out in the country. And it's right off of Old Santa Fe. And at that point in time, every ex-convict getting out of prison needed a highlight. We all needed a job. So we'd all go to those temp services. You know, those temp agencies? And at this time in Merced, there wasn't many jobs. On Central Valley, they ain't got shit going on. Most people that are about their money, they either are on the block getting that, doing whatever they have to do with a fucking mayonnaise jar, or they commute to the Bay Area where all the money is at. But in the Central Valley, it's hard to get a good job. If you got one, Holmes, hey, shit, you did well for yourself. So I was one of those guys that didn't have one. So I was going to the temp service, trying to take care of my little familia that I was establishing, you know, in a little 2-bedroom roach-infested apartment, you know, ghetto shit, real hood shit, on parole. So I wasn't getting many looks. You know, my resume said parole, parole, parole. They weren't giving me too many looks. But anyways, I went to this temp service that did fuck with ex-convicts and placed us in different jail or different in places to work. And there was 3 places everybody was working at this time. And those that are from the county, they know what it is, man. It was either Foster Farms out there in Livas and Livingston. It was either Sensiet, which was the fucking garlic and onion factory in between Whitten and Livingston. No one wanted to work out there. You smell like straight Savoya, right? And Savacos. Or you could work at the Dole Company, the fruit factory, right? So that's good. Sign me up for pineapples, right? So that's where I was going. That's where I was headed. And I started working there and I built my way up into a supervisor. How did I do that? Sasuke, with the gift of gab. I was in the right place at the right time. Sasuke, and the Spice chick, the supervisor, I knocked her down a few times. Sasuke Spencer to my ex-old lady. Now, I had to wiggle and get in where I fit in to make it happen. So anyways, I worked at the juice plant, which was way located in the back. Now, in the juice plant, we had a lot of good hard workers. And I'm going to keep it real. You know it like I know it. Most of the workers that were there were paisas, right? They were hard-working people, our people. You know, where we're derived from. They were getting it, homes, hairnets y todo mine. But there was also a lot of Southsiders from the city of Atwater and Winton. They were getting their twerk on. They were very work on, right? And they were hard workers. Now, there was a lot of norteños from Livingston, Los Baños, Merced. There was a little bit of everyone. It was like being on a fucking yard, a prison yard, where there's a little bit of everybody. And for the most part, everyone stuck to themselves. Everyone understood and realized, hey, it's work. Work is work. And try to keep the drama on the calles, man. You don't need a funk right here. Although there were some one-on-ones in the bliñas. Some guys did have animosity to get off their chest, and they did that. I ain't gonna lie, man. I seen a couple norteños from Livas get off with cats from Atwater. One-on-one fights mostly, a couple 2-on-2s. Yeah, like I said, it was a prison yard outside of prison. How does everything reflect back to prison? It just does. That's it. When it comes to brown people, Vatos always have a fucking bone to pick with each other. Especially north and south back in them days. So anyways, I get the supervisor position in the juice plant. And everything's going good, but we lose our crew, man. Our crew's fucking off, man. Some of them are at Table Mountain at the casino doing cocaine. Other ones, man, just ain't coming to work like they should be. So my boss, he starts to fire everyone. So he tells me, hey, what I need you to do is put a crew together. Take a look at some of the harder workers from other departments and try to fucking bring them in, recruit them, Billy Graham style, right? So of course I put the Onda game in the mix because, hey, recruiting is America's cup of coffee. So guard, I got at him, right? And I was like, hey, I need some hard workers. And I'm not going to lie to you. There was a few paisas that they were like the Tasmanian devil when it came to fucking washing barrels. These vatos, they were like the fucking YouTuber with the mace can. They were fucking good, right? I recruited them. And then there was a Southsider. He was a good ass vato. He's from A-Town, homes. And I'm not going to use his name in this spiel because I don't know what he's into right now. He still might be active doing his thing. I just don't want to drop his name like that. But I'll say this. He was a good ass worker. And he had a hell of homeboys from A-Town and from Winton that were good workers too. So I got at him because he was approachable, man. He was the type of guy. He was tripping off north and south, but he wasn't. And I wasn't active at that time. I wasn't in the mix. So I was like, look, now you want to work or what? Right there? You want to make money? I'm talking about making money, right? I'm not talking about bullshit. And he was like, yeah, hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, hell yeah. And so I said, hey, recruit some of your homeboys, man. I'd rather have the Southerners on my team than vatos that ain't going to work. Now, I'm not going to say the Norteños weren't working. They were in different departments. They had their shit going on. Homeboys had recruited them to different spots. Them vatos were all the forklift drivers. They would get their doom, doom, da, da, doom, 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 da, da. They were doing the boys to men, right? They were growing up being men. They were working, homes, and I appreciate and respect that as a man. So I got all these Southerners to work with me, and this is the fucking best crew I ever had. These vatos are being that motherfucker. Ain't nothing like them summer nights. And this other vato, I just picked up the chrome. I polished up the chrome. Called my rook on the phone. Told her daddy's all alone. They were getting their little Rob on serio, right? They'd be bumping their Southern music. I'd be listening to, Orale, Enter the Night Owl, right? So walking into this fucking plant, walking into this department was kind of like walking into Southern California, man. That was their stilo, their thing. So anyways, to trip out, we had a cafeteria. It's kind of like a break room, but it was pretty big. And I ain't gonna lie, them paisa chicks, the wind was blowing when it came to them. They always gave me a taco here, a taco there, a taco everywhere, right? So I would be too busy, moving from place to place, spot to spot, trying to fucking, you know what I'm saying, man, get my Mac on. And the Southsiders, the Upstaters, these were Upstater vatos. They had their own little table. They'd be doing their little thing, eating tacos, busting their little spreads or whatever the case may be. You had a couple blacks, few whites. Woods, brother, were working. They were all in supervisor positions. You Mexicans gonna learn one day, right? So they're doing their thing. And these two vatos start working. Now they come into the juice plant. The way it used to be is they place you wherever they want to place you. Although I had recruited a crew every once in a while, I would have a few people that would come in daily, different people, and they were interchangeable. And if they stuck it out and they were good workers, we'd keep them there. And most of them weren't, man. We say, Sasuke, take your ass to the folding boxes department. Over there with the poop butts. But these two vatos came and they were good workers. Now, they were both from LA. One of them had a big old LA blasted on the side of his head. Another one had Los Angeles across his stomach or across his neck, Spencer. So they were good gente. I chopped it up with them. They were hard workers, man. They just wanted to work. They were brothers. And they had just moved from LA to Dos Palos, right? But they came out there for work. And it was all good. And I introduced them to, which would be their camarada, their homeboy. I was like, hey, this is another Surenos. You know how I work. But I ain't even tripping. As long as the job gets done and they pay me every Friday, halale. Do your thing. You know what I mean? Pool. And they were cool at first. But what had happened was all these upstaters, like I said, had their own table in the chow hall, right? I call it the chow hall, but it was the break room, a big break room. And these two vatos from LA, they would just do their own thing. Now, one day I got at him and I was like, hey, bro, I see that you guys sit separate. Is there problems? Because if there's problems, I can get you moved to a different department because I definitely wasn't getting rid of my crew. A-Town was with the business, right? I once wanted to kill these vatos. Now I loved them more than I hated them. So I didn't want to go that route. And so I made sure that everything was cool, that there was no friction, but there was. They were like, hey, homie, we don't fuck with them vatos. We're from Los, ese. You know what I mean? What's up, doggy? I'm like, oh, shit. They were on that high power shit, like on that for real serio shit. So they were like, it's not that we have problems with them. We're just doing our own trip. We're not here to play fucking prison and to play cool, play gangs. We're real. And I understood that, having done time with a lot of Southerners from down south. I was there back in the days when they were calling Upstaters, before they were called Upstaters 13 and a half. I was there when there was issues and problems. I always thought a Sureno was a Sureno, a Southsider was a Southside. I never seen no differences, eh? They all hated us, We were Palmeros, man, and they didn't like that. And that was that. So to me, there was no difference. But I see and I knew and I heard the differences coming from vatos from down south. The way they looked at vatos from up north, if they weren't aware or having done no time, They didn't understand. Now, there was a lot of Southsiders when I was locked up that didn't give a fuck, homes. A homie was a homie was a homie. Didn't matter if he was from Egypt riding a camel like Capone. He was a homie. I rhymed, huh? None of that mattered. But these vatos from A-Town weren't tripping, but these vatos from Los were, right? So what happened is they started to feel the friction over here in the upstate carro. So they approached him. That main dude, the one that I recruited, like, it was a good vato. He wasn't no sucker, man. He was with business, right? So he hits him up one day. He's like, hey, yes, why don't you guys come meet with the camaradas? And they're like, fuck you, vatos. Basically, straight up, homes, you guys ain't us. And I could see the hurt and the look in the fucking upstater's eye. He was pissed, right? Hey, and me from a distance, I was like, kill him, right? I went back to my old ways. Get them motherfuckers off the yard. Rip that Surenos head off, right? I was crazy, but in real life, bro, I just didn't want there to be no tension or problems because, like I said, I had a solid crew. So I tried to diffuse the situation again, man. Vatos stood up like, what's happening then? These vatos were like, we're from Los Angeles, eh? We don't need to play games. So I got at the two vatos from LA. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to get you moved homes to a different department. They're like, don't do that, eh? We really like this job. This is where you make the most feria, which was truth. You know, you had a room and wiggle room to elevate there. So for about the first week, these guys didn't talk. They stopped talking. I'd always see the two brothers together eating in the corner, doing their own thing. They didn't look fucking confused or shook up. They were just doing them, right? And of course, the vatos from A-Town were laughing, but I could see them plotting and planning. And I said, oh shit, they about to find out how Northern California really does wiggle around these camps, right? So I remember getting at the vato from A-Town. And I said, what's up, eh? You guys are acting real quiet today. Something's going down, huh? He said, just step away, bro. Just do your thing. You know what I mean? You're not involved in this shit. I said, shit, you ain't got to tell me more than once. You understand that having done time in prison yards, you feel the tension. Anyone that knows what awareness means, you're aware. You can tell when something's going down. This was like a fucking prison yard out here on the streets. You know, there was gang-related vatos from everywhere. Crips, Bloods, and North Bay thugs, and of course a lot of Southsiders. And these vatos were going to get off on each other. There was about to be civil war. Only was it? The upstate movement has always not only rocked with the Southsiders tremendously and did their thing, but there's always been a little bit of a difference there. You know, whereas vatos from down south more focused on inner fighting and vaudeville warfare, these vatos didn't trip on. They did get down amongst each other sometimes. There was vaudeville warfare, I ain't going to lie. But they were more together homes against Northerners, right? That was their whole get down. But today was going to be a some Southern comfort was going to happen. So anyways, I remember stepping back and thinking to myself, man, where are these fools going to get off? Are they going to do one-on-ones? Is it going to be after work? I was telling them, hey, you should just do this off grounds. I was looking out for myself, right? You should just do this off ground, bro. Because the Placas I ain't trying to fucking deal with them fools. They were like, no, don't shit, we got this, bro. It's going to be all good. You know what I mean? These are still our people. And I remember him saying that these are still our people. And I remember thinking, of course, vato, we're all brown. We're all our people. But of course, at that time, I wasn't pushing that narrative over that movement, man. I was kind of just trying to do my own thing and make a little feria. I needed that bag. So asking my rent was $350. What you know about that's old school, huh? And I couldn't barely pay it. So you already know what it is. Plus my hyena, you know what I mean? She wanted a BBL before there was BBL. You know what I mean? It's just, she was over there fucking trying to do it. And I was too busy looking on it. That's why I wasn't making enough money. The game was different. So we go to the chow hall, right? We go to this break room and everything is good. They're doing their thing in the corner. These fucking Southsiders are doing their thing in their corner. I'm talking to my fucking Indian partner, Mr. Singh, right? He's over there doing this. We're all kicking it. And it was like an eruption, bro. I seen it in slow motion. It was like the Matrix. I seen an apple fly. No! Oh, shit. You see that, boss? Right? These vaults from A-Town rushed, bro. Rushed. Boom, 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 boom. But they rushed one of the brothers. One of the brothers had got up and went to a different, I don't know if he went to the bathroom or he went to a different department to do something to fill out paperwork or whatever, but they seen the perfect opportunity to get off on the main one, the one that was talking the high power shit. Hung. These upstaters put their stat down that day, right? And I'm not trying to cause or stir up tension between LA, the vatos from Los, and the upstaters, man. That's furthest from what I'm trying to do. I'm just telling you a story of what really happened. The vatos got off where they were mad at. This other vato came running. Boom, boom, boom. They started to placate him, but they were already stomping this dude out. Needless to say, the cops did come. A lot of people didn't say a lot of shit, right? No one seen nothing. Everybody was done eating their tacos. Tacos were cold. They didn't taste good that day. Everyone had an excuse why they had nothing to say. And of course, none of these guys got fired. The two vatos from LA did get moved to a different department. They didn't leave. And I'm going to tell you what happens. So about 3-4 days after this incident, cops are called, of course. And it is what it is, man. You know, everyone's like, it was a fucking black guy that did it. Everyone's fucking, hey, that's all. Hey, my African brothers, I love you, right? But hey, GGD, Jenawi, Mojanane, Jemasaku, Asante, Kitu, good night, right? You know, the blame game was, I guess Vatos do blame the blacks, right? All I know is, you know how they, I don't know, it was two black guys on a bike, eh? It was an Asian, right? So anyways, I'm just playing, but the cops left, whatever. About 3 days later, these vaults from LA were not playing, homes. So they ended up catching this vault, man, the main one, like I said, from A-Town. And he wasn't no shot caller or nothing. I just call him the main one because he's the one I used to chop it up with. And it looked like he had a little bit of respect amongst his people. Yeah, they got him in a bathroom and booked the dog shit out of him, allegedly, right? I know one of them did get arrested. The other one, you know, I don't know if he even participated. I'm not going to say he did or not. But they arrested this dude for it. Didn't kill the guy, but gave him the business, you know. And that goes to show you, man, that raza don't play, man. These vatos weren't playing. This was really war, homes. And it was war between the same side. So that's why I've always tripped. Like when it comes to the upstaters and the southerners, I always know that there's been a little tension from way back in the days. It changed as time changed. I didn't go along with the changes, so I don't know what the fuck happened. But I do know this. They did get off right there. And it was funny to see because I was like, fuck, bro. These vatos are acting like they're in Preston and YA. The movement was smooth. When one got up, all got up. One jump, all jump. I was like, get on, right? Like I said, man, there's a lot of vatos from LA that move into the areas, you know? Hey, if it wasn't for Max and Sal from Long Beach into A-Town, man, A-Town would have never been established. Now, that's some real G shit and some real Klechan game for those that are out there. These are two individuals that moved out of the city of Long Beach that did establish and start that upstate movement as far as it goes in Atwater. And we all know Atwater is one of the main hubs in the cities for Sureño presence. Now, there are Norteños in that city. Now, I've seen a few of them. They established a vato in Northside Atwater. And it is what it is, man. It's neither here nor there. We're all brown at the end of the day. But I just wanted to tell that little story of how that was the one and only time besides one-on-ones when I was in Nellis and YA. I remember there was a vato from Sanjo, man. And let me tell a quick little story. He was from San Jose. Big old shark on his stomach. I remember my homeboy used to just mean mug him like, fuck, can't stand that vato. He was from Barrio Sur 13, right? BST. And I remember he had a lot of respect down there in Nellis, man. And I remember the first time he took his shirt off and I seen Sanjo with a shark. And I was like, is that a homie? Right? To what degree of X3 is that on his forearm? This vato was about that shit. And I remember a lot of vatos from Los and everywhere down south used to try to test his abilities, come at him different. And man, he gained his respect viciously. You know what I mean? He was like Kimbo slicing that motherfucker one time. He was slicing and dicing. So I just got to say, man, you know, as far as his upstaters, respects, they were handling their business and they got off. And the vatos from LA, they came back like only LA does. They didn't dodge, homes. They came back like Kobe, you know what I mean? 80 points on that ass. With that being said, I hope that you move with a purpose. I hope you enjoyed the story. It's all truth. It's all facts, man. Happened right there at the Dole company a long time ago, man. Fuck that job. I'm glad I got away from there because it was just drama after drama. I remember the active Northerners used to look at me like, what's up, man? I used to be like, well, fuck it then, man. Get off where you're mad at. They were like, nah, we're all going to get with you, right? And I used to say, I know, you know. I don't doubt it, Holmes, but you, motherfucker, you get at me. Not Charlie on me because I'm on my break from forklift driving. But don't trip because now that's real, right? And that was it, man. No clowning. I'm just being honest. That's how it went down. With that being said, Moose Move with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, I tell these stories because they're truths and they're facts, and that's just the story of my life. You already know what it is, man. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's bringing you some of the realest and illest entertainment I can right here on YouTube. Black and brown unity, you know what it is. For those of you that tapped in with the video earlier, I took that motherfucker down. I got a couple phone calls. I really looked into the situation, and I seen that it wasn't all that what it's cracked up to be, man. I can't condone certain behaviors by certain individuals, and that's a fact, man. If you go talking about the people I affiliate with and my boys, I ain't fucking with you. Orale. And it just be like that sometimes. Bang, bang. And that's real. The gun.